have used Dropbox myself in the past just to kind of test it out and see what it was. At around the same time that I tested it, Google Docs, which is now Google Drive, was coming out. It made sense to use that with the Google Apps that we were using. So it was basically an all-in-one solution. So yeah, we use Google Drive versus Dropbox. Yeah, I've been a Gmail user for quite some time, probably back to like, I don't know, maybe I can't even remember. It was a long time ago, sometime in the mid-2000s, maybe even earlier than that. And that's to me, that's the beauty of Google products. I understand that a lot of things are in beta. There are still a lot of bugs and software restrictions where you can't always do what you want to do, but you know that sooner or later you're going to log into one of these Google apps and you're going to start using it, and they add features all the time. They make it better all the time. They're consistently improving the products and making them better. So it's like, I love that, where you just, little surprises every time you log in. They've added a new feature or function that it's like, yeah, that's amazing. That's exactly what I want to do with this. Students who are pretty tech savvy, no problem at all. Those who find technology to be a barrier, that it can be a bit of an issue for them. And so what that tells me is that's part of the reason we have our computer fundamentals class, is to bring some of those technology essential skills to the students before they're asked to apply them in the classroom. Because when software does change around, menus move, different items are added, it could be very confusing. If you've run your classroom or you get students to explore their way through technology, it's not really an issue, right? If the students are used to, you give them a task where they go and explore their way through the use of software or something like that, they're used to trying out new things that they're not familiar with. I use the word processor all the time. It's not as flashy as Microsoft Word. It doesn't have a lot of the features. The reasons why it was such a good idea to look at implementing, number one, the autosave functionality. I've had so many students come to me in tears that they've lost, they went to plug in their USB key and all their files are gone, or they didn't save it right, and just had too many people losing too much of their work with the Google account. As long as they can have access, as long as they have access to it, as long as they can sign into it, they're never going to lose that stuff, and they can always download a copy of what they have. The revision history, absolutely wonderful. You deleted a paragraph, you don't know where it went, you go back through the revisions. Oh, I must have highlighted and deleted this thing back here. I can go and undo that now. The best part of it, though, is the collaboration. I mean, this is we're supposed to be talking about curriculum where people are learning to work together, because that's what you do in a work environment, is you collaborate with people. And so we're supposed to be training them for that through education. Well, here's a software product. Like, you want to see a bunch of eyes pop out. You show how two students are working on the same document at the same time every single time. People are fascinated by this, and so if you think of the education possibilities, first of all, I create a template and share it out with all the students, and they can use it that way. Students will create something either with somebody, or they'll create it on their own. Then they can share it to someone else. They can be giving each other feedback and essentially tutoring each other at the same time. You can easily have students, like especially a lot of our students have families and a lot of responsibilities outside the classroom. It's not easy for them to meet up outside the classroom. You get 4 people to log into their Google account at 6 o'clock tonight to work for an hour, and everybody's working together with a chat interface. It's phenomenal. It just takes software from being pretty flat and ordinary to being unbelievable. We talk about research assignments where different students are responsible for different parts of it. I give them assignments where they do a writing project on their own and then get someone else to edit it, and you read each other's work and you do those. You make corrections and suggestions to the other person. We'll get them to make, so Google Docs has a presentation thing that's similar to a PowerPoint, and we'll get them to work on PowerPoint together with another student, and different people are responsible for different slides. They have to be planning all that and interacting and talking, and at the same time they're using this technology, and again, it's like the same thing that I would say about Prezi is the Google Drive stuff. it's really easy for students to figure out. If they've seen Microsoft Word before, it's so easy for them to transfer their Word skills into this. It's just called a document, right? Yeah. Yeah, so we use the presentations, we get some of the spreadsheet functionality, we definitely use the documents. Coming up next is we're going to start collecting more feedback through Google Forms, so where we can keep stats on it and that. We've been talking as a program about how we're going to better implement it. So our math department, I think, is going to try the Google Drive with the forms and collect our information that way. So there was a time in our program when we were actually using the Google Apps platform, and for anyone who really wants to nerd out here for a second, with Google Apps you can have your own domain name, and you can have your own custom images and stuff like that. So students think that they'll see a Gmail interface, but when they sign in it actually looks like they're using George Brown's custom Gmail program. And so when students came in the program before, we used to create one of those accounts for all of them. Now since then our curriculum has changed and our system isn't quite the same, so students when they require something like that, they're just going to make their own Gmail account, and it's not necessarily with the GBC upgrading domain name. Not overwhelmed. Sometimes the sharing aspect and the file management aspect is a bit confusing for them. I've noticed that. Overall, I think the software products themselves they find to be quite easy to use. The sharing, as I said, the sharing can be a bit confusing until they get the hang of it, realizing that a link is going into your email and you open that and you're working on the same document. And then the file management, the fact that they're opening another browser tab to manage their files as opposed to a Windows folder or something like that. That can be confusing for some students, but overall it's built in a way that it's straightforward enough that once you've used it for a couple of hours you know exactly what you want to do with it. So yeah, it requires internet access, and not all students have internet access at home. So that's definitely something. And again, as I said, we have an access program, so a lot of the students wouldn't have access to internet at home. But we do have labs at the school that they can use, and computers in the library. But again, actually, that was what part of my master's thesis was on, was kind of judging the level of engagement and the level of fairness for students who do have access to technology at home and those who don't. So it can be, of course, really engaging, and it's almost a no-brainer how awesome it is to be able to use technology at home. But is it really changing the playing field when students don't have that same access, and maybe even they have an old computer, and a lot of times the newer software won't run on older machines and so on. So there definitely are some things to consider. And it's not perfect, but you do the best with what you have, right? I think that there are also some other great products out there. I mean, the fact that you're getting all of this for free, and it's always going to be free, I guess there is a cost to us as users in that they are collecting our data and they are using that for a variety of things, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. The fact that you don't pay for this software is phenomenal. I've looked into the Office 365 and other online tools. Nothing to me seems to. I mean, the Microsoft Online word processor, like it's Word Online or whatever it is. It looks way better than Google Docs. They've done a great design job on it. But first of all, I think you have to have a paid account for it. And again, if some of our students can't even afford to have it, don't even have access to the internet at home, then I'm not going to ask them to buy software when there's a product that's perfectly good that's also free. So that's a huge part of it. It just removes so many barriers, and all you need is a current web browser in order to be able to run it. I mean, it's phenomenal.